Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dr. Brown here. I hope this finds you doing well. This is actually a capital project presentation because I know that a lot of you are so busy with the holiday season that it's tough for you to come up to our public hearing that we're holding on December 5th, and it was hard for you to get to our meeting last week. So I thought I would bring the meeting to you. As always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to either give me a call or you can shoot me an email. Or you can find another way to get a hold of me. So I'll make this as brief as I can because I know everybody is so busy, but this capital project presentation is kind of the next leg of our journey in getting all of our buildings and facilities updated. The initial project scope when we first got started with this whole thing was $80 million. We worked with our facilities committee and we were able to revise that down to two things, one that's called Proposition 1 and one that's called Proposition 2. Proposition 1 contains all of kind of our health, welfare, safety items and things that came out of our mandatory building conditions survey. And Proposition 2 consists of some athletic field upgrades at the high school campus as well as at Valley and Gorham. So as you can see on the slide, the revised project scope for Proposition 1, our top priority items is not to exceed $36 million. And for the second proposition, the athletic fields, not to exceed $12 million. And I'll explain those in more detail. Also, you see there in parentheses, $4 million for energy performance contract. That's so we can upgrade our lighting and our control systems, and we actually get money back, which is why the number 4 million is in parentheses. It's actually a credit. We will get money back for doing that piece of the project through an energy performance contract. So the reason why this is split into two propositions, this project, is because we like to be very, very transparent. Proposition 1 contains mostly end-of-life items or health, welfare, safety concerns. Proposition 2 is mostly athletic and fine arts heavy with turf and lighting, not health, welfare, or safety related, but things that we've heard time and time again in the community. So we also set this up so that Proposition 2 cannot pass unless Proposition 1 passes, just to make sure that there's a safety net there to make sure that both parts, the second part of the project can't pass without the first part. Tax impact is something that I would always take a look at myself. My mom is on a fixed income, so what would that mean for her? For Proposition 1, if you don't have STAR, it's about $68 for a home assessed at $100,000. If you have basic STAR, which is like someone like I would qualify for, it's $49 for a home assessed at $100,000. And if you have the enhanced STAR, which is based on your income and your age, if you're a little bit older than I am, that is $12 for a home assessed at $100,000. Proposition 2 is $85 for a home assessed at $100,000. And as you can see, $60 for one that's basic STAR and $16 for STAR enhanced. The question that you might ask is, how can Proposition 2, which is smaller, actually cost more than Proposition 1? It's a great question. The answer is that Proposition 2 does not receive any building aid. We are 5 years away from being able to get building aid called site aid for work that we do on our fields. Proposition 1 is heavily aided, which is why it ends up costing less on the tax side. We did the math, and if you were to wait 5 years to do the items that are in Proposition 2, the way the costs would go up would make up for the aid that we would get, and the price to you would be about the same. We are thinking that the first impact on tax bills will be August 25th at the earliest. I'm thinking may actually be into August of 2026, and this is a 20-year borrowing. We do have some other debt for projects that we've done that are becoming off the books between now and 20 years. So the numbers that you're seeing on your screen right now will be less as those drop off, with our first debt dropping off in 5 years. So here are a couple of photos. I'm not a big fan of throwing a million photos up there. If you'd like to get a closer look at what we will be replacing, just please give me a call, send me an email. I'll have you actually come in and I'll walk you through what needs to be done so you can see it in person. So these are some major building condition survey items for Valley. These are items that are over $100,000. You can see window reglazing, bringing our bathrooms up to ADA compliance in our kindergarten classrooms, elevator reconstruction, and so on. The big piece that I had heard a lot about has to do with air conditioning. You'll see that in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bullet, replace end-of-life steam boiler plant and add air conditioning. So Valley and Gorham will both have new heating and cooling in both buildings. And you can see the rest of the items that are listed there. In orange is kind of the scope of the repaving and roofing pieces. At Gorham, lots of the same thing that you saw with Valley, with the addition of roof reconstruction. We also need to add an approved ramp at our main entrance near the bus loop for children who are in wheelchairs. And again, you can see the addition of air conditioning and heating for that matter at that building as well. Question I get asked quite a bit is, why can't we just close Gorham and have all the kids go to Valley, or close Valley and have all the kids go to Gorham, or close both buildings and have the students all attend at the high school? And the answer is that our enrollment has leveled off. We can't fit Valley at Gorham, and we can't fit Gorham at Valley, and we also can't fit Valley and Gorham at the high school. So the most next cost-effective option is what we're doing here. Plus, Valley and Gorham are in fantastic shape as far as the building bones are concerned, and we have a lot of money invested in those buildings as it is. Here's some of the work for Gorham. You can see in orange. Middle school, high school, some more brick reconstruction. You can see the liquid membrane roof reconstruction. That's expensive. And as you kind of go down, you'll see some of the pieces there. The last of what we'll do in the pool, the new pool deck finish, new bleachers and pool work, the pool locker room and physical education locker room renovation. Those are things that we took out of the first project. When I arrived, the boys' rooms were going to get more attention than the girls' rooms. I did not think that was equitable, so both came out, and we're going to try to hit those here. And then we also have some elevator reconstruction at the middle school. In addition, replacing the bleachers at the middle school, and you can kind of see some of the other pieces there. The reason why it says lights on field 3, which is our new field closest to the bus garage, is because that's part of our energy performance contract. And so if it is included in this Proposition 1 and it passes, not only will we be able to receive $4 million back for doing this piece of it, as well as the replacing the older electrical panels in the louvers, we will also get an additional 10% building aid for having that passed in this proposition. So again, just trying to maximize the money that we get back. And you can see here, the reconstruction work on the middle school, high school is just gigantic. The middle school, high school campus is about 300,000 square feet. Somebody asked me that the other night. In the transportation center, we have to do some roof reconstruction. Liquid membrane is just another word for the type of roof that school buildings mostly have. It's just a larger way to create an envelope on top of the building so that it keeps out the rain and snow and all of that. It's much, much, much cheaper than some of the other options, but still costly because you're talking a lot of square feet. And then if you are a bus driver or know a bus driver, you know that the fuel island needs some TLC, including some kind of little bit of a roof or something to protect them from the elements while they are out there putting gas in their buses. So here's kind of the midway point here. Proposition 1, you can see how the costs are broken out. $9.5 million for Valley and Gorham, $15 million for the middle school, high school, $2 million for the transportation center. And then Proposition 2, softball field, baseball field, and Wildcat field. The question that I get a lot is, why are you putting money into why are you putting turf at the softball field and the baseball field? And the answer is, if this project is not successful in passing Proposition 2, the fields, which I'll talk about more in a couple of minutes, we're going to have to put significant money into the fields for drainage and other work. So when we looked at Valley and Gorham softball and baseball fields, it's going to cost about $750,000 of general dirt work and drainage at Gorham, and probably about $500,000 at Valley. So we figured it would be better to add turf on top of that work to get rid of the future maintenance. So you can see below, I put a little bit of an asterisk there. The fields are going to need about $4 million in repair if Proposition 2 does not pass. So what is in Proposition 2 specifically? Softball field, synthetic turf infield, and drainage, backstop, dugouts, all of that. Gorham is baseball, turf infield, and all the things that Valley will be getting as well. And then here at the middle school, high school campus, a Wildcat field would be turfed, and we'd also have an 8-lane track, which is at the end of its life right now, as well as a press box, new lights that are associated in the energy performance contract that I mentioned, and bringing everything up to compliance. So if you did play here at Whitman or have a child who's playing here now, you'll note that our very, very successful track and field program cross country, they can't host sectional or state events here because the track does not qualify, not large enough. You'll also notice too that for our other sports like soccer and lacrosse and football, we can't offer sectionals or states here either because the field does not meet the requirements. Under this construction project, everything will be brought up to code and we can offer any of everything. And I also want to mention field band. We believe we can bring the pageant of bands back with a turf option as well. Plus it gives our field band an opportunity to practice together each night on the field as opposed to in the back parking lot of the middle school. This is a pretty good picture of what's kind of happening there. It's all the things that I mentioned. I don't know if I can expand. I can't really expand this out, but we will be able to play football, lacrosse, soccer, anything else you can think of, field band as well. And then on the track, again, 8-lane track, which is regulation, and then also the track and field elements as well that are included there. It's it will also make it so it's easier to get from the concession stand and the concession stand parking to that track and playing field, turf field as well. The thing about turf for us is maintenance in the future. It costs a lot to maintain grass. The most recent study about injuries that came out last month shows that the number of injuries, sports-related injuries on grass and turf is identical. So we think that now is the time to take a look at that. Again, mentioning Valley and then Gorham, you can see the outfields will still be grass, but we'll be able to do all the correct drainage and then throw a turf infield on top of that. That takes care of future maintenance and keeps our costs way down. So if you're asking yourself, especially at Gorham, where we're struggling to maintain a baseball program, why in the world would you put in a turf infield? It's that future thinking in terms of maintenance and keeping that up without a lot of additional cost. The energy performance contract, as I mentioned, it's an agreement with the utility company. Essentially, they're betting on themselves that they can save us more money than they tell us they think they can save by putting in new controls and LED, new lights and that kind of thing. And so at Valley, we're converting our pneumatic controls, which are basically our controls that have to be handled in person, to electronic controls, putting new lighting in select areas. Gorham is the exact same thing, as well as the middle school, high school. Middle school, high school would include some of those outdoor lights as well. Again, it's $4 million that we're going to get back. And if Proposition 1 passes, we'll get an additional 10% in building aid on the whole thing. So here's our proposed timeline for the project. Our vote, as you know, is coming up December 13th. And then what we'll have after that is if the votes are successful, we'll submit our paperwork to the state education department. In 2023 and 2024, we'll do our bidding, and then a lot of construction is going to happen in a very short amount of time, and we'll have end of construction by August 2025. That's phase one. Phase two is a lot of the field, track and field work, which is why I mentioned it may hit our tax bills in 2026 instead of 2025. When you look at this timeline, submitting to SED would be in 2024, bidding in November of 2024, and then completion of construction by 2026. You know, we talk about when is the right time for a vote and when is the right time for construction. It kind of is now, and from our point of view, because we will get good bids, which is what we want. When you are in a recessive economy, which we haven't really hit a recession, but people are talking about it, it does create competition, and that lowers labor and material cost. One of the pieces that we've had here in this district is we've had a lot of Marcus Whitman graduates working on our projects, which is why I believe why they're working out so well and of such high quality. Construction costs do increase 6.5% a year minimally, and in this inflationary environment, probably higher than that. So the longer we kind of kick the can down the road or don't do something, the higher the costs become for the same exact items. We're talking about financial impacts in August 2025 at the earliest, probably 2026, which to me senses that the inflationary era that we're in right now will be over, and we'll be in something that's a little more reasonable by then. A lot of the items in Proposition 1, the vast majority are end of life or health, welfare, safety. And the field items in Proposition 2 are going to need repair regardless to remain playable. And the question I got was, well, if Proposition 1 passes and Proposition 2 does not, are you just going to do $4 million less work in Proposition 1 to pay for the field repairs? No, because the items in Proposition 1 are health, welfare, safety related, and we've knocked them down to what we need to have. And so we'll have to figure out as a district and a community how we're going to entertain fixing and upgrading and repairing our fields should Proposition 2 not be successful. Okay. The next steps, our voting is December 13th, 2022, noon to 8 p.m. right in our high school gym. We'll have a lot more available to you via email and social media and all the different ways that we communicate. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here. I do appreciate your time taking a look at this. I tried to keep it as short as I could. If you have any questions, cbrown@mwcsd.org or give me a call, 585-554-4848, extension 1805. Or you can attend our in-person public hearing, which will take place on December 5th at 6 p.m. in our high school library. All right. So thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of the day.